What is up? It's the Fake Gear Hunter, and we're going to talk about all the goodies that you could look for on Amazon Prime Day today and tomorrow. And I'm mostly doing this video to tell you what I would not buy on Amazon Prime Day today or tomorrow or at any point in the future. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing for more. I test devices for the purpose of CrossFit and high intensity interval training versus all of the running, swimming, and biking videos that are out there on the market today. So everything in this review is going to be focused on things that could be functionally useful or I've tested to be functionally useful for CrossFit and high intensity interval training. So let that be said at the beginning. And before I forget, I'm going to put timestamps down below so you can jump to a section and all the links for all the equipment you could possibly want to purchase down below, so you can watch prices, you can track it, you can do whatever you want. You can save this list if you want to go back and purchase it at another time. All the links to purchase any of the items are down below. And the biggest thing, the biggest reason that I wanted to talk about all these things is because there is such an allure to Amazon Prime Day. And Amazon Prime Day says, oh my gosh, this watch used to be $600, and for the low price of $250, you can get it today. Well, that watch came out 3.5 years ago. It does 1/10 of the number of functions as any of the watches on the market today, and it's worth less than $250 given the open market and all the functions that are now available. So I am here to mostly warn you about what not to buy on Amazon Prime Day, but also to tell you what to buy or what has the most value on the market today. We're going to look at it in two basic categories, with watches and then equipment, because hey, maybe you can pick up some cool equipment on sale. That's always a sweet deal. In the watches category, we're going to talk about, yes, definitely get one of these, or maybe you could consider one of these things, but it's got exceptions to it and definitely not more than a certain dollar amount. And then last, watches to definitely not look at. And I repeat, watches to definitely not look at, because some of the functions have changed so dramatically. And then on the equipment side, we're going to talk about, yes, these are my favorite things in my equipment bag today. And number two, yes, these are some maybes just to consider picking up and buying. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into the watches, and most of this is dialogue. I've got a bunch of stuff around me to show you with some of the equipment things, but in simple terms, the Garmin lineup of watches currently on the market today that's just been released as of 2022 is some of the premier tech for the CrossFit and high intensity interval world community, both from the training side as well as from the wellness side. The leader of which, pound for pound, features for cost, is the 955. I literally was going to spend tonight finalizing a review for the 955, and the more I thought about Amazon Prime Day, the more I thought, oh no, oh no, they're gonna go out and buy, the Garmin, 245 from 2-3 years ago just because it looks like it's on sale, but it's on sale because it should be on sale. It should not be sold. Maybe in simple terms, and that's a watch that I like. So the Garmin 955 has the biggest, broadest feature set for the price you could possibly get on the market. Along with the 955, there's the recently released 255 for the more budget-friendly for $350, which has a broad set of features. And the 955 and the 255, many features over the 945 and the 245, which is on the do not buy list. Along with that, the Fenix 7 and the Epix. Those are awesome watches. I mean, if you have the price, you have the capability, Fenix 7 and the Epix. And then along with that, which is a lesser recommended, probably actually should be in the maybe category, is the Instinct 2, because the Instinct 2 costs as much as the 255. And for the CrossFit community, I think the 255 offers way more value than the Instinct 2 does, although the Instinct 2 has all the latest, greatest features, and we'll talk about some of those differentiating factors. So one of the other Garmin watches that still can kind of qualify in the yes category that you might actually be able to get a deal on is the 945 LTE model. Not the 945 straight original model, which has an old heart rate sensor, an old processor, a much worse screen to size of the bezel ratio, all those things, just not something to worth consider. not worth considering. But the 945 LTE has the new heart rate sensor, a new processor, and is getting some of the new wellness features and updates over the next couple of months. If you are budget friendly, budget conscious, then the Polar Pacer at $200 for a simple, clean, overall layout, overall functionality for the CrossFit community is a great watch for those that are truly capped out at $200 to $250. And that's it. That's it on the watch side for the yes category. For the yes, this is a good deal. Even at their price is a good deal. The Garmin Forerunner 955 is $100 cheaper than the 945 that came out 3 years ago. It was $600 back then, so we have anti-inflation on the 955. You could get a solar variant that has for $100 more, whatever. But either way, that's the list of the yeses. Now, what are some maybes? Because this is where we start to get in a trap. This is where we start to get drawn in. The Fenix 6 Pro, woo, it's gonna look like it is on hotcake sale. It's gonna be like, oh my gosh, this was $600-700 watch, and now it's only $450. Well, that's because it's got an older heart rate sensor. So with any of these watches in the maybe category, you absolutely have to buy a chest strap if you're going to do CrossFit workouts. If you're going to do workouts of any high intensity, high end strain. So none of these watches you can do standalone and get any accurate metrics, no matter if it has the best metrics in the whole entire world when it comes to analyzing workouts. It's not going to get the job done if you're relying on the heart rate sensor built into the watch. So the Fenix 6 Pro, only if it's less than $350, because you have to buy the Fenix 6 Pro for $350, plus you have to pay at least $75 or $100 for a chest strap. That puts you at $450, and it's too close to the 955, which is $500, which would give you touchscreen, which would give you more functional things, and the Fenix 6 Pro is not going to get the trickle-down effect from a lot of these updates, a lot of the wellness updates on the 955, so it probably should even be $325 or $300 before you should consider the Fenix 6, and oh my God, are you going to be tempted? You're going to be so tempted, and that's only the Pro model, because the Pro model is the only one that comes with music, because the standard Fenix 6 doesn't even have music, and the 955 has all of it times 4, because it has 4 times the storage as the Fenix 6 Pro even originally did. So that's a maybe with an asterisk, with a star, with a probably should be on the no list. And I love the Fenix 6 Pro because it still is capable. You have to have a chest strap. The Suunto 9 Peak or Suunto 9 Barrow or Suunto 9 whatever, you have to have a chest strap. It's got some older functionality. Some of the functionality still can get the job done, and it's got some cool look to whether it's the sleek 9 Peak or the 9 Barrow, which looks bolstered. But either on both of those, you better be buying it for $300. $300, or else it is not worth the bang. The Suunto 9 Peak last I saw was like $475. It's going to have a fraction of the benefits and features that the Garmin Forerunner 955 is going to have at $500, and you have to buy a chest strap to get anywhere close to accuracy. Same thing with the Suunto 9 Barrow. I think that was in the high 300s, so that's got to be pushed down to 300 or below, or it's not even competitive. Really, you can't even compare the Suunto 9 Barrow to the 255, the Garmin 255 that came out at $350 or with music $400. So you take that for what it's worth, but those are some things to consider. Yes, the Apple Watch. The Apple Watch is something that might be on sale on the 7. I think for the CrossFit community, the 6 and the 7 are going to be just fine because you're going to have to compile your whole app catalog in order to get the full feature set that you might be able to get from a singular purchase in a Garmin 255 or 955, Fenix 7 or Epix, or even the Instinct 2. So you're going to have to compile some apps, and I'm going to tell you which apps. So if you're looking at the Apple Watch, you don't have to get fancy, top, most recent. You can get the older versions that run the basic things. I mean, don't go with like a Apple Watch 5 if you could even buy that, but 7, 6 even, if that was even available. 8, all those things, totally fine, but you have to have 5 basic apps. You should look at Athletic. You should look at Auto Sleep for deep sleep analysis. You should look at Health Fit for another form of training load tracking. You should definitely look at Sports Tracker, and that's an iPhone app. Sports Tracker has great training load, missing some other features, and you should definitely look at WOD Insight for tracking CrossFit workouts in order to show your times and to get your split times and your round times. whole bunch of cool stuff there. So those are the 5 apps you should consider. So you're gonna have to compile all this stuff together and pay a subscription service for some of these apps in order to get the same feature set that you would get out of the box for what the Garmin family is watching, and even what the Polar family is offering. So those are the maybes. Maybe you could throw in the Suunto 5 Peak, which is coming in, I think, in the high 300 range. But then again, you absolutely have to have a chest strap because the heart rate sensor is not good, and it still is going to offer 1/10 of the feature set and benefits and value that the Garmin 255 is going to offer. And oh, by the way, if you pay $400 for the Garmin 255 Music, you're going to get music storage. You can play a Spotify playlist from your phone while you're out on a run. BTW. So, what to not buy? Not buy. I want to be stressful about that. I would not look at the Garmin 245 any longer. It's got an older heart rate sensor. It does not include heavy duty sleep analytics, and it's missing a lot of the wellness features, and it's missing half of the training features. Definitely, personally, in the CrossFit community, I would not look at the Venue 2. The Venue 2 has no training features, none of the advanced training features that make Garmin so great. It does have some of the health features, and the Venue 2 at least has an updated heart rate sensor to the most recent Elevate 4.0. So that is still a candidate if you just like a pretty face and a pretty watch and all you want to see is sort of simple information. But again, we're talking, what do you want to get training analytics out of? So maybe there's an asterisk on the Venue 2, but none of the others. Not the Vivo Active 4, not the Venue 1, not the Venue SQ, none of the others. That's all old heart rate sensor that cannot possibly keep up with a CrossFit workout, doesn't include advanced training analytics. And then we talk about things that are going to be even more salivating, like the Fenix 6 Pro is going to be salivating. It's going to look like it's on huge sale, but it is an outdated watch, unfortunately, and I am a big fan of that, or have been for the last 3 years. It's just super old and has a lot of old hardware to it, and it's not going to get feature updates. The Fenix 5, if you see a Fenix 5X, just look away. Just run away from the Fenix 5X, because the 5X is like all the old features, none of the new features. It's like, it looks cool because the Fenix 5s, they look bolstered and strong. Fenix 5X is way out of date. You cannot possibly, just say no. Just say no. The Coros line of watches. Notice I didn't mention a single Coros in the whole recommended section. That's because in order to get training features out of your Coros watch, you have to run for 300 minutes within 42 days. And on the whole, within the CrossFit high intensity interval training community, that is putting in a lot of running just to start the training metrics, to get any of the training metrics that would be cool and have value. And on top of it, Coros has no real health and wellness features built into their watch. Now, they can give you a recovery time from one hard workout to another hard workout. That's one little tiny sliver of wellness, but that is it, all of it. And you have to run all that time. To me, I consider the Coros line of watches not a fit for CrossFit and high intensity interval training, unless you're going to pick up running and you are planning on running a 5K soon or a 10K soon. So that takes Coros out of the line. The Polar line of watches, you're going to be so tricked. They're going to make you think that the Polar Vantage M2 is got the hottest deal on the market today. I've still seen offers from Polar to buy the M2 for 30% off, and that sounds great. It is not worth 300% off. Well, I can't say that. It's not worth 30% off. It's not worth 60% off. There's too much competition. And again, you just look to the Polar Pacer, just the Pacer, not the Pacer Pro, for $200, and you're getting all the value you could possibly need, plus a better, clearer screen, a brighter screen, and functionally more capabilities than you would ever get with the Vantage M2. The Vantage M2 is going to have the appearance, but it is sorely lacking, at least in my opinion, just on the even brightness of the screen by itself. So take the Vantage M2 off, take the Grit off, the Grit X original off, take the Vantage V original off. Don't look at any of those. The Vantage V2 and the Grit X Pro are cool looking watches, but then again, you have to come way down the cost structure from what they're currently selling at, because that's like mid 500s for the Grit X Pro and the Vantage V2, and you're comparing it to the the Garmin 255, not in casing. The Grid X Pro looks cool. The Vantage V2 looks cool, but as far as features and values, you're coming in below the feature set you would get with simply the 255, the Garmin 255, and far from the Garmin 955. So I would take those off. The Ignite 2. Take them all off. The Suunto 7, that might even still be up on the block. That's like the Wear OS version. It is a beautiful watch. It will last you about 16 hours in a day before you have to charge it, and it will never, ever, ever functionally work for any kind of in-depth training because it's got a terrible heart rate sensor and it is not allowed, not capable of connecting to an external heart rate monitor. So that's it. The yes, the maybe, and the no. Just look away. So let's look at the equipment. Okay, so on the equipment, we're going to again start with the equipment. Yes, you should look for these because these are awesome solutions in and of themselves. And then we'll talk about the equipment maybes, just something to look at if something's on sale. The most basic yes is, I just hit the mic. That's great. Just make everything wobble, everything problematic, is the H10, the Polar H10 chest strap. This is $90 chest strap, or wait, $80 chest strap, I think was on sale even today, not today being, the Prime deal, but this will connect to 2 Bluetooth, it'll connect to Ant Plus. I can connect this to like 4 devices at the same time. You can actually run your whole training metrics on the Sports Tracker app on your iPhone in this chest strap and not own a watch. That's pretty big deal because you can get all your training analytics that way. I still am running Sports Tracker app with this to keep the training metrics going. That's the same training metrics you get on any of the Suunto watches. So I like the Polar 10 the best. The Polar 10, it's got a much better strap system, so it's got more nodules to hold better. It's got more contact strip points. It's just got a better, sturdier strap than the baby H9, and it's only $20 more than the H9 right now. But just the fact you can connect to multiple Bluetooth devices at the same time, that's worth thinking about. The other device I love is the Nike Metcon 7. So the Nike Metcon 7, in my opinion, is so much better than all the other shoes on the market. So you have the CrossFit Nano X. The X's are good. They still have some CrossFit variations, but the Nike Metcon 7 was designed over the course of 2 years to be completely from the ground up built around things that might affect a CrossFit workout. The way that it's got this rope channel across the middle, I mean, this rubber all the way up the top. It's got a hardened tip on the back for doing headstand push-ups. It's got a little lace lock for doing double unders that tie down the laces. It's got an extra heel base off of the Romaleos to do more stability in the lift. And it's got a little bit of a lift in here to give you a little bit of a lift for heavier barbell cycling. So this is an awesome shoe. I've tested the X. I would not bother to test the the Nobles, because I don't know how Noble sells so much. It's just like a shoe with a sole on it and no sole inside of it touching. That's another yes to buy. I love the Bear KompleX 3-hole. I would not go with the 2-hole. I had the 2-hole for a long time, but if you're in a gym that has poor air conditioning and you're sweating a lot and it's humid in the summer, that extra gap that the missing 3rd hole leaves actually has worn a hole in my hand at times. So the 3-hole, whether you go with the carbon or the diamond or whatever it is, I think just as long as you get a 3-hole, these things are solid. Another one that I haven't done the review for yet is the Bear Grips. So these are wrist wraps from a company called Bear Grips. The thing about wrist wraps is they don't take a lot. It's not high-tech science. This has a thumb thing, but these are like $19 and they are a great solution. You don't have to get a fancy solution. It's like $18 or $19 for the Bear Grips. I think that is a great addition, and it definitely helps with the heavier overhead squats and heavier snatch days or headstand, push-ups. The other thing that I would mention is the Power Beats Pro, not the Power Beats Pro, let me apologize. That's the maybe. The Beats Fit Pro, which is actually in my car in another gym bag. The Beats Fit Pro are the more tiny version. It's $200. It is really a great, if you want to have a good earphones for working out, they are the best. Now let me see if I'm catching all of the things. The last thing I would mention, and this is not on Amazon Prime, is the Haven athletic bag. I'm going to try to get up here without knocking down camera equipment, but The Haven Athletic Bag is awesome because you have a million different pockets and pouches. The large duffel is what I would recommend because the small duffel I just found to be too small. So the large duffel Haven Athletic Bag is another yes. And then the last yes that I'm adding to my favorite equipment after testing it for a month and a half is the Airwave Performance Mouthpiece. I have grown to love this thing. I mean, you just develop an addiction to it. It just goes in on your bottom mandible, but it actually helps with cortisol reduction because there's been physiologically proven that when you clench down, your body produces less cortisol, which means your recovery is better. Plus, it creates a channel for your tongue to go down underneath it, which creates better inhalation and respiratory, which creates avoidance of lactic acid buildup in the middle of a workout. And I think it's legit. I think it is, and it's worth it. It's on Amazon Prime. You should go check it out. So what's in the maybe category? Okay, so in the maybe category, we're just gonna stick, we're not gonna any particular, this is a Harbinger 4-inch nylon weight belt. This actually has good flex to it. It always locks up. The Velcro wears out over time, but I really like it, and it's really it's like $20. Again, totally affordable. You might not use a weight belt every day of your life, and it is fully, to me, able to get the job done. Another item that I like is the Double Under Wonder because it's height adjusted, so you're buying it for your particular height. And so it's gonna come permanently bound at one height, so it's gonna help you to learn double unders, I think, a little bit easier because it's made for your height out of the gate, and you can get all sorts of fancy colors. And again, it's affordable, another key factor. Barbell clips, this just might be a good time to pick up barbell clips. I cannot believe how easy it is just to pick up a pair of like $10 or $20 barbell clips that work absolutely fine. So you're not fishing through a big bucket at the gym. You know how at the gym there's like all that rusty bucket, and some of them don't always clip down, and then some of them take like 3 superhuman grip strengths to get it to actually go on the barbell. You could avoid all that by just having a $10 or $20 pair of these on your own. So it might be a good time with Amazon Prime to look at that. Like I said about the Beats Fit Pro being the superior, the Power Beats Pro actually might be a sweet sale item on Amazon Prime. These still work fantastic. I still use these every single day of my life for client calls and for work calls. I just use the Beats Fit Pro for the workouts themselves because it's got noise cancellation and it's just a little bit cleaner and easier. But these still work fantastic, and I do love that they connect more authentically with my iPhone. It makes the experience really good. You have armband options. So this is the Polar Verity Sense. This is their sort of premier armband. It's a heart rate monitor that's optically based, but it goes on your bicep. This one's $90. You got the little brother to it, which is the OH1 or OH1 Plus, and that's $70. Both those get the job completely done. Again, if you're spending $70 or $90 for one of these, you better just hate chest straps because you should just be spending $80 for the Polar H10 because it's cleaner and easier and just functionally a lot more simple to use. One that I've added to a list of the things that I really happen to love is the Manta sleep mask. This is silly, but we're all talking about recovery. We track devices to see how good they track your sleep. The Manta sleep mask is another great solution for just making it easier to sleep because it blocks out light. There's been studies that say that if your eyelids are exposed to light, it's going to disrupt the depth and quality of your sleep. That's just sort of been a scientifically proven thing. Well, this eradicates that for like $35 for a whole little set. It comes with a little bag and comes with, earplugs if you want the earplugs. So I think, the last one I would say, and I think these are a fantastic solution that maybe are a little bit lesser known. These are called Wad and Done. They're little hand tapes. They come 2 to a pack like that. You basically just peel it into your hand and then wrap it around the back, and it's just like a Band-Aid for your hand. So this works really well if you have a tear in your hand and just want to like seal it up, because if you try to put a Band-Aid on your hand and go back to doing pull-ups, it's going to pull the Band-Aid right off. This sort of wraps it up like a little glove and seals the whole area. Plus, it's just a good go-to. They don't make you feel like you're losing grip because there's a piece of leather on the barbell or on the pull-up bar. If your hands are a little bit shorter or smaller, this is actually cleaner and simple and helps you to grip. So those are all the things. Those are the watches I would definitely look at. Those are the watches that maybe you could find a justifiable reason if it was basically super ghetto priced. And then a lot of things you should not look at, not be tempted by the discounts and the glorious sales that make it look like it's on sale when it it should be even more on sale if you wanted to make it truly valuable. The equipment list of the yeses, the equipment list of the maybes, as I said in the beginning, all of the links down below if you want to go purchase any of these things, or at least watch the deals for any of these things down below. It's the Fit Gear Hunter. Thanks so much for watching.